Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 663 of In My Mug. This week's coffee is Bolivia Volcán del Tigre. But this week, it's just me. I'm all alone. I have to make coffee for myself. So please feel sorry for me. But hopefully we can just have a bit of fun, you and me. So this week's coffee is from Copacabana in Bolivia. It's a region that we've done a fair bit of work with, and you've tasted a few different coffees. And you may have heard us talk a bit about the Rodriguez's and their farms, that's Agrocafe, and one of their programs, which is called Sol de Mañana. And Sol de Mañana is a program that works with other individual farmers and helps them make the most of the land that they have, and then the coffee is milled by the Agrocafe team. So this coffee is kind of strange for Bolivia. Most of the small farms that we work with in Bolivia will be named after the producer. In this case, a guy called Grape, but he's looking towards the future. He's given his farm a name. So it's very special to have a named farm in Bolivia. And let's talk about that name a little bit. When they first took ownership of the land, there was a great deal of mist, a little bit of steam rising up in the distance, and they believed it was from some kind of geothermal activity. So that's where the Volcán comes back. We also had del Tigre. Now, as far as I know, tigers, not a common species in Bolivia, so it may be some kind of wildcat or some kind of confusion, but there's a path running through the farm that they believe is used by tigers or wildcats. No livestock is kept on the land, on the farm anymore because of this fear. But I think tigers are cool. Tigers are pretty damn cool. So Volcán del Tigre. Now the farm's 12 hectares in size, but only 2 hectares of those are currently growing coffee. Gregorio has been working over the past few years through the Sol de Mañana project, learning a lot about farming, the right varieties to plant in this land. This coffee is a combination of Caturra and Catuai. It's focused on wet processing in the Bolivian style. So all of those things will go together into the cup profile that we taste once we brew the coffee. Those other 10 hectares, Gregorio's looking at increasing his coffee production, but he's doing it slow and steady, really trying to make sure that he's a master of what he's doing on his land before he plants more trees. I'm going to brew some coffee. We're going to do things a little bit differently, so watch out for some crazy camera angles. I'm going to brew you an Aeropress, and I will see you on the other side with a mug of coffee. Okay, so I'm going to brew some coffee in the Aeropress with the inverted method. I'm going to drop some water in my kettle. I've tried to get all my mise en place in place, so we can have a nice, easy brewing. So, water in the kettle, put the little lid on there, and I'm going to pour 200 grams of water in my preheated Aeropress. We haven't started the timer yet. We won't do that until coffee goes in. I'm going to drop my coffee in now. It's 18 grams of coffee. And I'm going to start my timer. And I'm going to give a stir. And I'm just going to stir in those first 30 seconds of brewing, make sure that all the grounds are fully submerged for the full 30 seconds. I'm using quite a fine grind, somewhere between a V60 kind of pour over grind and espresso, just right in the middle there. Finer grind means faster extraction. Okay, that's my 30 seconds. And then I'm going to remove this and drop it in there. And drop on my last part. Now for the next step, I'll invert the Aeropress onto my mug. We can do that a little bit before the full minute. It's still going to hold the liquid inside. And then when we get to the full minute, I'm going to start applying pressure, not on my scales. And I'm slowly going to apply pressure and try and make this part last 30 seconds. Pop it up a little bit, drop it over here. One nice tidy, but fairly small cup of coffee. Okay, so inverted Aeropress. It's a fairly new one on me. I don't really pull out the Aeropress very often, but it's nice when you're on your own, you just want to make 1 cup of coffee. I went with 200 mils, I went with 18 grams. It's a little bit high up on the coffee to water ratio, and that can be a really nice thing. That can really push, particularly with those faster extraction times, can really push some of the fruit flavors and the distinctive notes of the coffee to the fore. So there are some promises that I've heard from Roland through his cupping notes, but I'm going to make my own decisions. So on your packet, it says black grape, pale caramel, that's one I question, but buttery texture, red apple finish, and cocoa aftertaste. So pale caramel, we're going with some kind of light brown sugar note to it. Good amount of fruit there. That all sounds really exciting. For most of the other Bolivians you've had, there'll be that little bit of acidity, that little bit of sweetness coming together as fruit, and then the kind of cocoa body and aftertaste that you get with most of the good Bolivians. So let's see what I taste. I'm on my own, so I can make as much noise and as many weird mouth things as I like. Maybe this can be a special YouTube viral sensation. Some really good texture. Obviously, Roland described this as kind of buttery, but we've also got the impact of how I've chosen to brew it, which has made it a little bit heavier. It's really rich. That's lovely. Flavor-wise, this cup is more milk chocolate forward with hints of different fruits as I'm kind of digesting it and processing it. I definitely get the black grape. Definitely dark and red fruits going in there. Good amount of juiciness and sweetness as well. And then for me, that finish really is that nice cocoa, very much a cup of hot chocolate. Little bits of apple, so some gentle fruit there in the finish as well. I like it. So, Bolivia, Volcán del Tigre, flavors of black grape, red apple, buttery texture. I brewed it on an Aeropress. I'd love to know how you're brewing yours, or if you use your Aeropress and follow my recipe, tell me what you think in the comments. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I hope to see you very soon. Ciao.